Happy day 5, you guys. We are still rocking and rolling. I'm still rocking this outfit. I love bright colors. I always say wear the colors and the prints you want to feel. And I want to feel high vibing all the time. And that's why I'm talking today about work obligations, because I know that oftentimes work gets in the way of our consistency. Sometimes work makes us low vibing, low energy. Actually, low energy is tomorrow's talk. But today I'm focusing on work and how you can actually even still work, right, and be successful with your health and your weight loss goals. Okay. So here's the thing about work, right? Work can always be an excuse. We can always be busy. Okay. Actually, busy is probably one of my least favorite adjectives. So when someone says to you, oh, how have you been? And you're just like, busy, that's not really saying much about you. Busy can be a good thing or not great thing, right? And so for many people, being busy can distract us from being successful on our health and weight loss journey. And so in this case, busy is not a good thing. Okay, because what you actually need to do is need to get moving and focused on the things that are really important. And although work can make us busy, there are so many people I talk to that say their job is boring and that they're not really that busy. Although work occupies a lot of their time in the day, the real issue with work is that it occupies a lot of their mental capacity, right? Work is emotionally draining, almost more than physically draining for many people. Comment if that's you. Okay, because again, my job is to help you be more consistent and actually reach your goals. And although work is something that may prevent you from having all the time in the world to be successful with your goals, oftentimes it's not the main reason why you're not reaching your goals. It's just what I call a sexy excuse. We can all hide behind work, but guess what? Like I was saying before, on one of the other days, we always make time for things that matter, right? So that's why I said the other day, just like you would schedule an appointment with your boss, or if your boss reached out to you, said, meet me at this time, this place, you'd be there, right? Or if you're the boss, let's say you own your own business and you tell your employees, right, your team to meet you at this time, this day on Zoom, they're going to be there. You expect it, right? So that's kind of how you have to walk that talk, right? You have to set these high expectations for yourself. Because if you don't set high expectations for yourself, you're never going to reach your goals. It's very easy to hold high expectations for others, your friends, your family, your partner. But why aren't you holding it for you? Why do you have lower expectations for yourself? And this kind of ties into what I was talking about yesterday, right? So if you're noticing a trend here, that you're always putting yourself below the back burner or on the back burner, that should be something worth exploring more, because that might be really holding you back from being consistent. Okay? But what is happening in this situation with today's topic, work, is that you're saying that work is more important than your happiness and your health. And I'm going to ask you the same question I asked you yesterday. Is that true? That work is more important than your health and your happiness? 95% of you are going to say no, absolutely not. I am so much more important, and my health and my happiness are way more important than my work, always. And then 5% of you are going to say, well, I'm dependent on my job to be healthy and happy because I make money that way. Okay. I want to remind you of a couple of things. I understand we got to get the bills paid. You've got a family to take care of, whatever the case may be. But health is wealth. Right? And if you're not your healthiest self, how well are you showing up at work? Right? If you're not happy in your life, how happy are you going to be in the long run in your career? What are you contributing to the work environment? Are you really vibing at your highest level and performing at your highest level? Right? So it always comes down to asking yourself questions. We talk a lot about this in Create My Weight, getting curious. Instead of just playing the victim mentality, right? Like, I don't have the time. Everyone demands things of me. My work is just overwhelming. I have no time for myself. My job's too demanding. Why aren't you being more demanding of your own time? How can you take command and control of your time? Here's how you're going to do it. And this is probably something you've heard before, but I'm going to teach it to you in a different way. I want you to think about it differently. You've got to set work-life boundaries. And I want to be very transparent with you. This is something that I struggled with for the majority of my life. I come from a family of workaholics. Okay, my dad, my grandfather, my aunt, my grandma, really a lot of my dad's side of the family. And then my sister and I were always that way, because we were always, we grew up almost in scarcity mode. We would never have enough. So in order to feel like we were enough and we had enough, we always had to keep working, right? And as a kid, my dad wasn't around. I mean, he was around for the important things, but like work was always a priority, right? But like I said, he was around for the important things, so I'm lucky in that regard. But yeah, work was a lot. And so even in my college, my post-college, my adult work life, I've always been a workaholic. As a teacher, I would obviously work all day at school, and then at night I was home grading papers. I taught high school English for middle and high school English for 10 years. I coached. So I was coaching, grading papers. I literally worked 12, 14-hour days as a teacher. So I understand what teachers go through. I understand what it's like to work 12, 14 hours a day and like depend on a paycheck. I still depend on getting paid, obviously. We all do. I get it. All right. But what I want you to understand was that I noticed, and I'm sure some of you guys noticed, when I was working like that, I was not showing up as my best self for my students, for my husband at the time. And my workaholicism, if that's a noun, probably not, I made up a word, the former English teacher making up words, that affected my marriage 1,000%. Comment below if working too much affects your relationships. Let's real talk here. This is a private group. You can comment below with your post today. If your work schedule gets in the way of not just your happiness and your health, but also like your relationships. Because it did for me. And my ex-husband, actually, he told me that I had no work-life boundaries. So I was a teacher, working all day, and then I actually stopped coaching and I started working in my local gym. I worked in 2 different gyms here in Delray Beach, Florida. I would train in the morning, teach school all day, and then go train at night. So again, I wasn't coaching in the school, but I was working, at least 12-hour days. And he was like, you just want to work all the time. I even work Saturdays. That's when a lot of people want to train. All my glute girls, they want to go lift heavy weights and, do the thing on a Saturday. I loved it, but it took a toll, not just on our marriage, but on me. I had no energy left to give because I was giving it to so many people. And I wasn't leaving any for myself or for my partner. So we divorced for a number of reasons. I'm not going to get into that story, but I will tell you something. Once I was out of my marriage, I decided that I was going to be fervent on having work-life boundaries, which is probably you're probably thinking, wait, really? You did it after you got married, after you divorced? It's another story. But as an entrepreneur, especially as a small business owner, we have to set work-life boundaries. Because if we don't, we're going to burn out real quick and your business is going to at some point. Especially if you're a coach like me. Have to, and I coach coaches as well, and I was like, you got to set work-life boundaries. So if you see that, like, I'm a social person, I spend time with my family, I travel, I specifically make time for that because if I don't, I can't teach you guys how to do the same thing. Have a work-life balance. As a coach, I have to walk the talk. Okay. And I want to help you do that. So this week, today what is it, 5? Yeah, day 5. I want you to think about creating some boundaries. So let's say your workday, for example, ends at 5. Do you really have to stay till 7 or 8 or later? Okay. If you are a teacher, I got a lot of teachers I work with, and you leave school. All right, let's say the school day is 8:30 to 3:15. That was I used to teach at Boca Raton High School here in Florida, and those were our hours, 8:30 to 3:15. Do you really have to stay hours every day after school preparing for the next day? Or can you maybe do an hour a day each day? Or maybe, yeah, you stay till 5 o'clock, and then when you get home, you are done working. You don't put that computer back on at 8 p.m. So I know people like this, that you are working, you work your hours, you go home to your family, and then you're away from work for a couple hours, and you put the computer on at 10 o'clock at night until God knows when. How late do you really have to stay up? Can something get done tomorrow? So when you get into this panic mode and the thought that comes to mind is, I have to get this done right now, guess what the question is that you're going to ask yourself? Guess. Is that true? Is it true that you need to get this done right now? It cannot wait till tomorrow. Subconsciously, that diva, right? I talked about the diva and the queen the other day, right? The diva is like, yes, oh my gosh, like if you don't get this done right now, like you're never going to get it done. Oh my goodness. Like the world's waiting for this to happen. You're not going to sleep. You're not going to eat, or you're going to stress eat over it, right? Is that true? Your life is over if you don't do this tomorrow. And then guess what? When you realize, no, you don't have to do this right now, time block it for tomorrow. I'm going to set 45 minutes aside from 11 to 11:45 in the morning, or whatever time you decide, I'm going to finish this task. That's what I like to do, because guess what, guys? I make myself a long to-do list, and I get through like half of it sometimes. And then instead of staying up all hours of the night, I say, you know what? Tomorrow, I'm going to get, these are my top 3 things. I'm going to get it done, and I block it out for the next day. I'm going to do it at this time, and this time. Or you know what? It can actually wait a couple days. Maybe I'll get to it on the weekend. It's not that important. Right? Overwhelm and stress, these are choices. Stress is not an emotion. It is the byproduct of other emotions. We choose stress. So if we're stressed about finishing a task right now, you always have the choice to say, I can finish this tomorrow. But don't keep putting it off. Plan for it to get done. Make a plan, time block it. It goes back to day 1, time management. I literally, you guys, oh my gosh, you should see my notes in my phone. I have to write out time blocks of everything I'm doing each day, from when I wake up till pretty much before I go to bed. Okay, I write down what I'm doing. This way I stay on track, especially when you own a business and you don't have someone making your schedule for you. I had to learn that I have to make my own schedule, and I have to stick to it. I've learned that being a business owner. And when you're commenting today, if you're a business owner, tell me if that's something you do too. I live and die by my schedule. Yeah. Even like my friends and family, they know. I'm really big on that. So this week, I want you to create some work-life boundaries. Just create one. You know what? Maybe you're someone that works on the weekend, because you don't have to, but you're like, oh, I have so much to do. I got to do it on the weekend. Maybe you decide this weekend, you know what? I'm not going to work this weekend. Or instead of working like 4 or 5 hours on Saturday, I'm going to work 2 hours this Saturday. I'm going to work from like 8 to 10 and then spend the day with my family or my friends. Whatever. I don't know. Just create some sort of boundary so you don't feel like you are totally immersed in your job 24/7 and it's taking over your life. Because like I said a few days ago, one of the most important ways to feel empowered and therefore motivated and therefore have confidence in yourself to stay consistent is you have to feel like you have control. And one of the best ways to create control in your life is to create boundaries. Just like some of us create boundaries in our relationships, right? With your friendships, your romantic relationships. How is work different? Again, it comes down to the diva. Well, they're paying your bills. You can't afford to lose your job. You got to do whatever you need to do to keep that job. Well, guess what? There are many people in the world, and you can be one of them, that keeps your job, does it better because you have work-life boundaries, and you'll probably get respected for creating those boundaries, right? And just own them. And I can't tell you what those boundaries look like. I don't know your situation. I don't know your job. I don't know who you work with. But again, there's probably something you can do even a little bit better. So maybe that's just not checking your email late at night. And then that keeps you awake at night. You can set the boundary of, I'm only going to check my email up till 6 p.m. And then after that, I'm not checking it till the morning. Or you know what? Like, I don't want to wake up first thing in the morning and check my email. It puts me in a headspace. Like, I want like peace and quiet and time to myself in the morning. So I'm not going to check my email till 9 o'clock when I get to work or whatever time it is. That can be a boundary you set. You don't have to create these drastic boundaries. I'm not asking you just to shorten your workday, because for some people that's going to seem impossible. And I never want you to feel like something's impossible, because guess what? That's going to squash your confidence. And my job is to grow your confidence. That is the role of a coach. We are here to help you we are creating the space for you to be your best self. And we are empowering you with the tools and the resources to be your best self. But we can't think for you. All we can do is guide you to start making these little changes in your life and be consistent with those little changes so you can be successful in the long run and create a better lifestyle for your best self. That's what this consistency challenge is all about. I do not expect you to be perfect for 7 days. Consistency is not about being perfect. Consistency is about putting in effort and caring about it and being aware of what's important to you and not ignoring it. Some days are going to be better than others. You know what? Some days you're going to be like, I loved my workout today. So glad I did it. I felt so strong. And some days you're going to be like, ooh, I did the workout. It was kind of lame, but like maybe tomorrow's better. You still showed up. You could even celebrate the win. Like, you know what? I left work early. I went to the class. I'm so glad I did it. I was tired. I kind of dragged my feet, but like I did it. That's being consistent. Okay. So this week, today, I want you to create a work-life boundary. I want you to comment below with the boundary you're going to set. Maybe it's not checking your email. It's not working late at night, leaving when you're supposed to, whatever it is you need to do. Okay. Comment below with what that is and photo proof of your habit. Okay. Have an awesome day. Bye.